Yeah, and I do believe it's all about networking and your connections, because you can be the most talented person, but if you are not seen, if you don't know where, you don't know who to connect with to get you to somewhere. Like, I've just had amazing opportunities because people have loved how I've worked and they've loved my, the design that I offer. But then I've had chances to do, sunglasses and soft goods and hats and scarves and bags and, things that I haven't been trained in, but because I have the right idea, the right process, I give my 100%. I've had these amazing opportunities because I've worked with people who've appreciated that.
Welcome to Hexotica, the podcast for unconventional women and gender diverse creatives ready to get paid for their creativity. I'm Christine Rice, marketing mentor, and this is episode 50. Today on the Hexotica podcast, I have a special guest for you. If you have a handmade or craft design business and you have ever wondered how you can get your designs manufactured or work with big brands as a consultant so that you are not chained to your desk all day, I'm chatting with Li, a talented, highly successful accessories designer who runs 2 different design businesses with a third one launching soon. Li has turned her love of eclectic fashion, travel, and statement design into her own businesses after years of working in the accessories industry. We're talking about what it takes to turn creative ideas into tangible products, take the leap from designing for other brands to building your own, and make your creative vision a profitable reality. So if you've ever got a product idea rattling around in your brain, but have no idea where to start with production, sourcing, and manufacturing, or working with high street fashion brands, this episode is for you. Welcome to the podcast, Li.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited about talking to you about this because as someone who struggled to make a handmade jewelry design business take off and be supportive, you are the person I wish I had in my life back then, 15 years ago. And if anyone listening if you have a business and you're selling at markets, you're making designs, but you want to take it to the next level, that is why I have invited Li on the podcast, because she has a whole strategy, a whole ecosystem of how she's designing, which has allowed her to have this amazing lifestyle of design and travel. And you're a mother of a very young baby.
Yes, and a 7-year-old.
And a 7-year-old.
Yes.
So she is a very busy woman and she has a lot going on. So she has a lot to help you with if this is your dream. So let's dive in. So first of all, Li, tell us about the 3 different businesses that you have and how they work together.
Yep, sure. So the first one that people probably know me more from is Leeli Design. So that's a handmade jewelry and accessories business. It's really about making people visible, connected with, because they're such statement pieces that you can't really wear them out the door if you don't want to be complimented, talked to. So I've had lots of people say that, which I love. And it's really just to make that person feel amazing. You catch a glimpse of yourself and you feel happy as well with the colors and the unique pieces. So that's Leeli Design. I then have Leeli & Co., which is then really helping businesses and brands turn ideas into ambitious ideas into standout product, and having the global team to support that. So that's where I work with brands like Zara and Target and big well-known high street brands through suppliers that I work with in across the globe as well. And they're my 2 main, and they complement each other because Leeli Design, I've set up from scratch. Like I've done everything from, doing the website, doing all the social media, the behind the scenes of running a business and getting it out there into magazines and and selling it and doing all the wholesale element. And then I've got the other side where I'm working with the brands and the suppliers with the manufacturing. So sort of the more mass production and a handmade sample, getting it mass produced is very different. They're two very different things.
Amazing. Yeah. I have so much admiration for you because you basically are living the dream that I had years ago when I was just running Hexotica as just what you have with Leeli Design.
Yes.
So it's an incredible accomplishment to go from handmade crafts to having 3 different businesses that are supporting you. Just the ideas and the creativity that goes into that is just so admirable. And there's so much too that I'm sure my audience would love to know more about how you did all this. So for anyone watching on YouTube, I'm going to be showing Leeli Design videos and photos of some of the things that she has made. Her designs are truly stand out. Like, these are not for conventional people. These are not for any basic beige, nothing like that going on. These are truly stand out. Like, even the earrings that you're wearing today are incredible. Those are beautiful pieces. Are those part of Leeli Design?
Yes, yeah.
Gorgeous.
My little kingfishers.
Oh, they're stunning, stunning.
Kingfishers.
And all of those pieces are available online through Leeli Design.
So lots of my Leeli Design stuff is one-off. So I do have different versions of these. There's different color tails. There's different sort of beads. It depends what I have here and what I've sourced and things. So I'll no 2 pieces are really the same.
Beautiful. So now the critical question: how did you get started? What was your education background or your interest that led you to it? And which business came first? Like, what was the order of the businesses? Yeah,
sure. So I have always been very creative. I've been brought up around a family that my grandpa sheared the sheep. My grandma spun the wool on a spinning machine, a spinning wheel that my grandpa made. She would then dye the wool with plants in the garden. He would make tapestries. She would make felt hats, like felt artwork. My mum was super creative. So I feel like by the time I was like a teenager, I'd had a go at making all sorts of stuff that you could, like, from candle making, paper mache, like jewelry, all of this sort of side of stuff. And my mum used to sell her crafts at a craft fair. And so I used to go along with her and, I had like a little stand first of all with her. And then I gradually sort of did it more and more. So I was doing my own pieces and had my own stands as I grew older. So creativity and craft was always on the cards for me anyway. Then university, I went and did a fashion, textiles and business studies degree. So the beauty with that is that I learned how to do the craft. I actually studied fashion. So I was a weaver. So I was on the big looms, like with the, the proper sort of weaving the fabrics and then made them into garments. And in the final year, or in the 3rd year, we had to do work experience. And so I wanted to do a placement in India because that's where all the if you're in fabrics, like all the dyeing of the materials, the prints, the color and everything. India is just the most incredible place. So I did 5 months in India.
Amazing.
Which was really amazing. Oh my gosh. Once I left there, I was like, I need to find someone to marry in India because I want to live there. It's incredible.
I love India. I did 3 months there years ago, and oh my God, it was gorgeous. I love it.
Just amazing. And it's such a world of like contrasts. You've got your just dirt and dust and these beautiful women coming out in their saris and color. And I don't know, it's just a creative, if you're creative, I think it's just incredible. And then I did a work placement in Chile, in Santiago, and that was with a jewelry designer. And I found her through through Top Drawer in London. So it was like a exhibition that you go to. And I saw her stand, and she had horsehair woven flowers on her jewelry. And I was like, oh, well, I'm doing weave and I really love making jewelry. So this would be perfect. And I asked the person who was manning the stand if this person would take on work experience. And he was like, oh, well, she's in Chile, but I'm sure she would be interested. She was actually in hospital visiting a friend who'd had an accident or something at the time. So she wasn't on her stand. So anyway, I communicated all this through email. We spoke on the phone, and then months later, I was with her in Chile, living with her and her husband.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Going to work with her, cycling every day to her office. And
that sounds incredible.
Yeah,
so it sounds like you really grew up with so much creative encouragement. You had guidance. You weren't a lot of people discouraged away from your creative talents. You were really actively shown how to do it and encouraged to do it, actively pursuing it. That's just so and
my parents are massive believers that dream big, and whatever you want to do, you can do. You just have to work out what it is and do it. Go ahead and do it. And they were super supportive of everything.
That is very, very fortunate for being a creative person. Some of us are born creative and then just discouraged away from it from an early age and told that you can't make money from it, that you can't make a profitable living from it, which is just such a lie, especially these days with everything online. There's more opportunities now than there ever were before. And you are a living example of that. Did your mother, and when she was going to the markets, did she also not just have the handmade side of the business, but did she have other kind of arms of the business as well?
She was a nurse. So she was a living carer. She went down. So she had a choice at, when she was studying to go down the nursing route or the arts and craft route. And she ended up keeping the arts and craft as a hobby, and she went down the nursing route. So she was,
But you made it a business, you made it a career. So you've taken it even further with that encouragement. That was so good of her to encourage you in that, even though she had that stable job with the nursing, she knew that it could be more from the beginning. So, and
my dad always knew. He was always like, "You need to have your own business. You need to have your own business." He was always encouraging of that side because he went self-employed years ago, and he was like, "You'll never look back. You're your own boss. You can."
So true. So true.
Journey. Yeah, exactly.
You become unemployable after you've worked for yourself. There's no going back. and whereabouts from London did you grow up? Just curious.
So I was in Dorset. So I was born in Devon, brought up in Dorset. So I was a country pumpkin.
Yeah.
And then I studied in Brighton. So that was closer to, 45-minute train journey from London. And then my first job after university was, so when I did the Chile placement, that's when I realized that jewelry could be a career. I had no idea before. I hadn't even crossed my mind that I could do jewelry, which was my passion, as a job. So then coming out of university, I applied for it took me probably 6 months to get my first job because I did fashion textiles. I didn't do jewelry. So I was going into an area that I hadn't actually studied. But once I got my first opportunity in London, so I then moved to London, I was just 500% all in. I was working whatever hours I needed because I loved what I was doing. I was working with River Island, New Look, Primark, all the big brands through a supplier. And that's how and I started traveling after 3 months. So I was traveling to China, Hong Kong.
Fabulous career. Wow.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So it took me a long time to start my own business because why would you come out from having all those opportunities, getting paid to live and travel the world? It's
learning about the industry, working with amazing designers, seeing how it's done, getting inspired, traveling, that is amazing. India is, love it. And Chile as well. And so when did you finally decide to start your own thing then?
So I moved to Australia in 2013. I actually lived in China for 3 years before that. So I was in China working for big brands again, and met my now husband there. And we knew that we wanted to move out from China. So applied for a few different things. I managed to then ended up getting sponsored to move across and work with them here. So we then moved, but in 2015, I got made redundant. So at the time, it was like, oh, that was like devastating to be made redundant, and you sort of lose. I don't know. I know it was the company. It was going through its structure, but I felt like it was something I'd done, and I sort of just needed to take some time out then. And then luckily my husband had opened his restaurant, and when because it had been a year since he'd then got all the I don't know, he'd opened his restaurant, so he was then able to sponsor me. So after a few months, I wasn't able to get another job. And so he ended up sponsoring me because he was my de facto when we moved.
Okay, so can I just interrupt and ask you? So I was going to ask your husband if he was Chinese born or if he's ABC, Australian born Chinese.
Chinese born.
Chinese born.
Yeah.
So, and he was living in Australia.
Yes.
Wow, so you guys are really international then.
Yes, we are. Yeah, and my parents live in Spain. My rest of my family's UK, and but we've got a very international. Yeah.
Interesting. So when you go to China, do you visit family and like?
Yes. Yeah. So we stay with his family, but I will, if the portion that I'm working, I'll still stay in a hotel because it's close to where I'm working and I need to be in the zone. But then I'll go and meet them for dinners and things like that. And then, after that portion, then I'll go and stay with them. Depends how long we're there for, but yeah. But quite often I'm traveling and meeting his family more than him because he doesn't go back as often. Like I quite often go to China.
So when you got let go, it was really heartbreaking, but a blessing in disguise?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because I had never started my business because I had all these amazing opportunities and I was living across the world. I was being paid, well for what I was doing. And I just loved it. I love the whole industry that I've been working in and the experience I've had. And so it was a really blessing in disguise that I couldn't get a job, because to be honest, if I managed to get a job at then, I'd probably still be working for somebody, because it's very hard to then stop having that reliable income and make the choice to
the weekly paycheck is definitely something that you can miss quite a lot when you're working for yourself. Yeah. Exactly. The security and not having to worry about all the bigger things.
Yeah. And then when you start your business, you sort of forget that you need to pay yourself to start with. You sort of like you're in all the money goes into the company or the business, that what you're doing.
Grow. Yeah. You're putting lots of it back and you're overworking. And
yes, exactly. But it's also, so I then, 2016, I then registered Leeli Design. So Leeli Design started off as my handmade business, but as I was a sole trader, so everything was under Leeli Design. So I was also doing freelance. And I happened to get some amazing opportunity. I worked with Nicole Fendel and did lots of freelance for her. So my first kind of role coming out into the freelance world was working with her, which was amazing because she was a jewelry designer. She had shops and so I got to use my skills and, help her, do freelance for her for a period of time. And then I got contacted through LinkedIn, which LinkedIn, I would say, is a massive recommendation for creatives. I moved to Australia because of LinkedIn. I had my biggest client that I still work with now in China because of LinkedIn. So I feel like it's been a really good platform for me to.
Oh, that's good for creatives to know, because I know a lot of creatives will shun LinkedIn. It's so boring and it's all corporate. But no, this is still where we have to make our business to business connections. If you are a business owner, no matter how creative you are, you still need those connections.
And I do believe it's all about networking and your connections, because you can be the most talented person, but if you are not seen, if you don't know where, you don't know who to connect with to get you to somewhere. Like I've just had amazing opportunities because people have loved how I've worked and they've loved my, the design that I offer. But then I've had chances to do, sunglasses and soft goods and hats and scarves and bags and, things that that I haven't been trained in. But because I have the right idea, the right process, I give my 100%. I've had these amazing opportunities because I've worked with people who've appreciated that. And they're like, do you happen to do, this? And I'm like, well, I could definitely do it, but I haven't got experience in it, but I'm very sure I'm going to be able to do it. And then I'll
capable.
And then I'll like wow them with it. And then I get the new opportunities through that. So I think the networking, what keeps you somewhere and grow. You can grow because of that. But who really gives you opportunities in lots of cases.
Really opens the doors. That's why the N of my SWAN programs stands for Ninja Networking, because networking is, even for introverts, like there's ways to do it. It's so important to do it. And so it's you can't run a business without having a mafia of support.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I call it. And so when did Leeli Co. begin, the consulting side?
So COVID happened in obviously 2000. So it would have been 2019. So I had my daughter in 2019. I think 2020 was when COVID hit, actually, in March. So for 2 years, I then didn't sort of travel, which actually at the time I was very appreciative of, staying at home with my baby. And when things started to get, back a little bit more, I was still working through it because I worked with the US, and the US didn't close down as much as we did here. So I was actually still quite busy. And I worked with Target at the time, who I think through, when you're scrimping and saving, Target is the place that still everyone went to. So we did well through that sort of period. So then in 2022, my daughter was a bit older. Things were starting to come back where we could travel again. And I just realized that the main supplier I was working with, I wanted to broaden horizons, and I was turning lots of things down for other people. And I just decided, through my husband, actually, he was like, I think you need to set up a company, because then you can like really sort of expand and go, you can still do it as a sole trader, but I think when you start hitting different price income brackets, having a company is a good element. There's lots of different benefits of having a company. So in 2022, I then registered my design company, which was then Leeli & Co., which it still is. And then everything's now sort of sat underneath that. So Leeli Design is now within that, but it's like a branch of Leeli & Co. And
Leeli & Co. is your bread and butter, and that's the one that's like bringing in the most income and supporting the passion. Kind of Leeli Design's more of a passion project for the handmade, one-off, unique pieces that you can use your imagination to make.
Yes.
And while you're working as a consultant, and you mentioned earlier before we jumped on the podcast that you are also designing for celebrities.
Yes, there's
exciting.
Yes,
wow.
A bit of a project at the moment, but it's all hush hush, so I can't say anything about it. But yeah, we're doing a bit of a celebrity collaboration at the moment, which is very exciting.
When it's done, can you mention it when it's done?
I don't know. I need to find out I need to find out whether I can. I hope so. Okay. I hope I'll be able to say. But but it's going to be another year's time because they work very far in advance. So it'll be this time. It'll be a couple more months.
Oh, exciting. So that's a great progression. 2016, you start your first business, Leeli Design.
Yes.
After years of working in the industry, 2022, you start your own design and manufacturing consultant business, working with big high street brands and celebrities.
It was actually already, so I was already doing, I was already working with, in this sort of similar way.
Like a freelancer.
So from 2016, I was working as a freelancer. 2017, I was then doing much more with suppliers. So I was like representing them for big brands. So I would be the person that would work direct with the brands. They would either tell me what they want, or I would suggest that, oh, this is trending, I think we should do this. And then once we'd worked out what design, I would do designs. They would say yay or nay. I would then work with the supplier to get the design sampled. And then once the sample was approved, then the supplier takes on the production and does the whole rest of the stuff. So I did everything from having the idea through to, actually getting it made and manufactured. And then the supplier takes on the production side of things. So, which I still have my consulting side where I help if there's certain things like, oh, we can't produce it, in mass production, we can't do it like this. It has to be done like this. And then I work through it with them, or to find the solution. A big part of my role is really a problem solver, I think. So, yes.
Thank you for telling us the details, because it can be kind of confusing for creatives who haven't worked in the industry, who might not know how the fashion industry works or manufacturing works, to know exactly how they can use their skills to grow their own brand or designs, starting as a freelancer, getting to know the industry, and then eventually starting your own consulting design business. That's a great path that I think a lot of people who are making their own designs, doing the markets every weekend, selling to a few shops here and there, they're wondering like how they can ever really scale and get to that level that you've got at. So that's fabulous. And is that what you are teaching in your third business?
Yes.
So tell us about Get Sourcey, because this is the thing. Like, she's actually teaching all of this, y'all, so you can learn all of it, which is amazing course idea. So tell us all about that.
Yes, I'm super excited about this. This is all of my 20 years of working in the industry, working with, big brands, like also having my own brand, everything. But really, I think so the course is taking you from your idea, or even if you don't have an idea. Some people just want to get out of their 9-to-5 work job. They want to have their own business because they don't want to work with someone anymore, but they might not even have had that idea yet of what that product is. So it's taking you from either, the thought that you want to have your own business, and how to generate that product that can make you be able to leave your job and have a product to be able to sell. It takes you through from the idea through to the finished product, including all different downloadables, everything that you would need, like margin calculators, like how do you know how much margin to put in to things, like how do you wholesale things, how do you, shipping charges can be a lot of, if you don't calculate that into something, it can take something that, yes, it's cheap to buy something from China, but by the time you've added your shipping charges, it's taking it to a whole nother bracket, and you could have got it made here. There's all those different elements.
That's a high value course. That's years of experience, years of insider knowledge, years of you having someone to tell you pros and cons of how to do it exactly, so that you're not making the mistakes that you might have learned the hard way, or that maybe would cost money. This is the way to kind of fast track your business to the next level. So I think that's exactly what a lot of people need. And they also need to know that you don't have to take the course with an exact idea of what you're going to do or what kind of business you're going to do. And you don't have to start a business thinking that you're going to change the world or have this kind of higher mission. It's okay to just start a business with the dream that you want to work for yourself because you're sick of working for your toxic boss, or you're sick of the commute, or not being in control of your own hours. You can just go into it and then get the ideas as you take the course.
Yeah. Well, one of my contacts who I'm going to be interviewing, she started off because she wanted to leave her job that she had, and she just found this product. I'm not going to say how she found it because that's going to be in the course. But she had a process where she went on and basically found a niche in this area. It wasn't even in something that she was particularly passionate about to start with. She found the niche, started selling the things because she was thinking, I'm just going to put them on Amazon so that then they can be selling in the background, and maybe, because you can do it so that they can be selling for you, and then maybe I can then eventually, earn enough from, doing it to leave, or, so she went with this idea that she's going to test things. And it's turned into this massive business where she has now had Kendall Jenner, Paris Hilton. She's had all these people like using these straws.
Go girl. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. So she's done amazing.
That's awesome.
So I'm interviewing her for this. I'm interviewing different people from different brands that I've known from years, like well-known brands that that I've worked with. And so I think not only my insight is going to be in there of what I've learned and the downloadable templates for, how you send a PO and all of those kind of things. It's going to have also like all these amazing interviews.
Oh, hell yeah. You're going to have signups. I hope, you're going to have people signing up immediately. How can they sign up to this course? Where do they go?
So
you've got a waiting list now, right? On the website.
Yes. So I will give you the, it's Get Saucy. It's www.getsaucy.com.
Getsaucy.com. I'll leave the link in the show notes. So everyone can go and sign up for this course now when it launches.
So at the moment, I've just got an email capture. Basically, in the next 3 weeks, I'll have everything set up so that, but by the middle of September, it should be ready to take pre-sales.
Okay.
But it's just at this, it's just all behind the scenes at the moment. I'm just getting to that point where we're just finalizing the next part.
Beautiful.
So that we can.
Okay, so final questions and we'll wrap up.
Yes.
So Li, what is your advice for creative entrepreneurs who are just getting started? Like, what would you say are the things to really work on now if they want to have the amazing career and businesses that you have?
I would say you need to visualize what you want and be really specific. Don't just sort of say, "Oh, I'd love to be a millionaire." I think, but really be clear on how much you want to be working, like how much you want to, who you want to work with. Like, do you have ideal clients or an ideal brand that you want to get your product into? Or do you just want to have it for yourself? Is it a passion, or is it something that you want to be getting it out there because you're solving someone's problem? I think be really clear, because once you are clear, you then know who to be networking with too, because I think you can create your own opportunities. And through I have an amazing business coach through the My Mummies group, and she's very good on getting you to visualize and to create your own opportunities. And I think
absolutely
how easy that is. Like, if you want to speak somewhere, or if you want to, get your name out there, you just apply.
And you got to be specific. I always struggle with that word. Specific about knowing what you want. And this is why I'm so big on manifesting. And I talk about manifesting because I believe 99% of manifesting is not metaphysical. It's actually just knowing exactly what you want and visualizing it and going after it. It's goal setting, and it's committing to your goals, and it's making those goals feel real and accessible. So that's 100%.
I also think a vision board, like I've got my vision board up here. I keep adding to it, actually.
Oh, gorgeous.
So, like the other day, I was like, actually, I'd love to meet Richard Branson. So I've put Richard Branson's name on here. I'm like, because I just love his ethos. And I've got Kate Hudson. I'd love to wear Leeli Design at some point. So I've put her name on there because I missed them off when I was doing my visualization. I think just the more you can think, and because then things start to go up, and
that's
you're
how you do it. Yeah. I can make those things a reality.
Yeah.
That's right. And what do you say is the hardest thing about the career that you've built?
I think there's it can be very all or nothing. I think you can have weeks where you have no work. And this was before I had the company. So I've set it up now in a way that I have regular work, because I have team that I don't have to say no to projects about, because I have people to be able to work with me. So when it's quiet, I have the work. When it's busy, I have people to be able to divvy up work between, and we've got a real system with how I work, and they're trained up in how I like to present things and everything. So but the hardest thing before I had that is really the the flow of the work. I think it's all or nothing sometimes. And then in the nothing periods, you're worried because you need money. And then in the big periods where you've got loads of work coming in. So that's for the design company. Obviously then for having a product, it's really then, for me, the challenge was time, and it still is time, because I hand make all of those pieces. It takes, like a necklace can sometimes take 4 to 6 hours. Headpieces 4 to 6 hours. Some are quicker. So some things that I have as like limited edition are quicker. But you still, if you get a big wholesale order for 25 pieces, it can take a good few days to make it. And
it can be very tempting for creatives to undervalue that time. But you as a designer should charge for that time, because that is your creative expertise and IP.
Yes.
A lot of creatives will undercharge because, I love making things. Like, don't do it. It's a trap.
Yes.
Charge for what So thank you so much, Li. Is there any last comments or things that you'd like to say to the audience?
I think just go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. I think if you have your full-time job, but you're thinking about going in, and doing something on the side, try and make the time to do the thing on the side while you've still got that income, because it's nice to still have that, not have that pressure when you're trying to do your business. It depends. If you have some financial backer who can come in and, that's amazing. But if you don't, and you're doing it all yourself, which many of us creatives are, if you can have that regular, even if it's a part-time, so that you can pay the bills and you can do your business how you really want to, that is less stressful, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I never advise people to just go out and quit a secure job. Hold on to that job as long as you can to get the income up with your side hustle, because it can be incredibly feast and famine. As you said earlier, that is the hardest thing, is that you don't have that regular paycheck. So you got to be smart with your time and your money to run a business. Well, thank you so much, Li. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I will leave the link to Li's social media channels and Leeli Designs, as well as Get Sourcey. So if you want to start, or if you want to start your own creative business, you can take her course and become a successful accessories designer like her.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day. It was a wonderful interview. I'm so, it's an interesting story.
I loved it. Thank you. Thanks for letting me share with you.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Bye.